Hello and welcome back to the HTA with me, Rory Duffy. In this episode we're going to be looking at the two garments that we made for our video series on Vimeo, the making of a Savile coat, a men's bespoke trouser making belt loop style. Now it's been a few months since we actually released this video series, and we've had a lot of feedback from a lot of our followers saying we actually want to have a look at the garments of see how they fit, so what they can expect to achieve from their own garments. And this was an oversight on our half. We should have realised that the first video we should have led with was the actual finished garment. However, we're here today to show you both these garments together. We put them together as an outfit. That wasn't really intended, but I think they do look quite good together. So first we're going to have a look at the coat. This is a travel flannel from Dugdale Brothers. They also supply the trimming packages for the video series. And this actually came out really nice. We'd actually sent this off to New York to be looked at by a fashion designer over there and used as a sample. And it was actually sent away in a box. It was probably received back in a box, probably the size of a shoebox, a little bit smaller than that. And I was actually amazed at how well it looked when it came out of that box with very little wrinkling in it. We've done some superficial pressing to it, but overall I think it looks like a really nice coat. Obviously the way that a coat fits is really entirely based on your own style and your own taste. I trained at Henry Poole's in Savile, so initially whenever I left there, I had that fit in mind whenever I was putting jackets on people and trying to get them to sit right and look nice. But what I soon discovered when I was in the States was what things that I would look at a garment and think that looks like a fitting issue was actually a styling detail done intentionally by the tailor. I think a very obvious one is the front button. I cut my coats to close, so there's really like the button is really just a function of fastening both sides of the garment together. Other tailors like their coats to sit open like this, and then they have to lift the coat up and button it, so that crease becomes an actual fitting detail. Another thing that our students tend to jump on is sleeve lengths, and even clients as well. They kind of like, first thing they're looking at is the sleeve, because it's something that they can really understand themselves. You've got the cuff of the coat and the cuff of the shirt, and some people like to show a lot of shirt cuff, and other people only like to show a little or none at all. You can cut your sleeve length any length you like, and get your shirt cut whatever length you want that as well. And so you can have it halfways up your arm if you want it, or down around your hand. Personally, what I do is I go by the two knuckles here on your wrist. So you've got this lower one, and then you got the higher one. So I usually get my the sleeve of my coat to fit about here, and the sleeve of my shirt to hit about there, and that's kind of like how I gauge it when I'm on the client. So you're looking at from the back of the cuff. So obviously it's important to have a nice look to the front of your coat. The focal point is always the shoulders and the collar, and that you want to see this sitting nicely up around the neck, and it's fitting nice and neat over the shoulders. Any drags or pulls are really noticeable there. The one thing we kind of can get away with as a tailor, or at least feel that we can get away with, is the back of the coat. And the thing about they're in common with either trousers or coats and how they fit is the back. But that's one place that the client can never really see, but it's the place that actually shows all of the fitting issues. So let's have a look at the back of this coat. I mean, I'm pretty happy with the way that it came out. I have a very round back, and that was developed over years of like slouching and really bad posture. And I developed that being in the tailoring trade. A lot of the guys that trained me had bad posture, and I learned their techniques, and in turn copied their posture and ended up with a round back. So in the last few years I've really been working on my posture, trying to get myself standing more a bit straighter or more of a normal posture. At this stage I'm probably in around normal head forward. But my back has developed and has been quite round, and rather than trying to accentuate that round at the back, what I did was I left a little what they call blade drape at the back of each sleeve. Now if I had a client who had a really nice flat back, I'd probably cut that really clean back there, but given my own makeup, I decided that I'd make it just that little bit wider to the back so I wouldn't look as rounded as I am back there. Other things like the chest drape. So the way I cut and fit my suits is that I can really focus on a kind of waist suppression, and so I'm creating the illusion of a waist. So like guys are probably a little bit more portly on the front, which is the type of figures that I specialize in cutting for. I generally give it a little bit more in the chest, so it kind of accentuates the waistline of the garment. It gives it that more of an athletic look. Yeah, so it's really all about, you know, how you like the garment to look, what you're trying to accentuate about the body, and you know, not necessarily going into the same every fitting, or you're going to try and create the same fit every time. So you got to be fluid with that and work with the figures that you've been given. But that's about it on the coat. Let's take a look at the trousers. So here we have the trousers. Again, these aren't my style. I don't really wear like low-rise trousers. I'm more of a high-rise kind of guy. But we did these here, you know, because we felt that that's what the market demanded. They wanted a lot of people wear like a low-rise trouser with belt loops, so we thought we'd begin with that. What I did do though was I included two styles. So I have my belt loop style, and then I also have side straps with brace buttons on the inside of it. Now I wouldn't normally put side straps with belt loops. It'd be one or the other. I typically have side straps with my brace buttons. So if you wanted to go for a higher rise trouser, you could achieve that by watching this one video series. One thing to note though is the front fastener here. Now this is a very short extension on it, and that's because you don't want to fouling up your belt loop right here. Typically I don't wear belt loops, so I'd actually have this extension coming all the way over to the side seam. I think that looks a lot cleaner. But when you're fitting trousers, like the things like obviously you want the front of the trousers to look good, and that's important. But it's really the back of the trousers that actually show off, you know, your skill for cutting. That you can get something looking really nice and clean back here. That you're not seeing any drags coming up from underneath. And you know, you've got the shape of the butt, but you don't have if there's a bit of cloth in here, so it's not we're not spraying it on there. The back of the trousers show all of the fitting issues that you're going to get. The reason why you get fitting issues is typically you've selected the wrong draft for the leg figuration. So in my book, Pattern Drafting for Bespoke Menswear, we've identified 5 different leg figurations: straight leg, closed leg, bow leg, knock knee, duck foot, and knock knee, pigeon toe. So you gotta decide what their leg figuration is, and then select the draft based upon that. Now my leg figuration is knock knee, duck foot. Means I bring my feet together, that they kind of splay out like that. So what you're trying to achieve is getting this, and the crease of the trouser really kind of hit the middle of your shoe. That's what you're aiming for. But you're also looking for the clean seat. You want it sitting really nice and clean back here. Don't want really any drags like that coming up from underneath. I'm pretty happy with how these trousers came out. They are cut in a very you know, subtle cloth. It's very soft. The cloth, I think it's like a Super 120s of that. It has a little bit of cashmere in it. So garments like that really show up every flaw in, even if you got a tight stitch somewhere, it's going to show it up. So what I always recommend to my students that are learning, start off easy, go easy on yourself. Use a wool, you know, something like 10 ounces or more. Once you're getting below that 10 ounces, it is a lot more difficult to get these cloths to fit nice, and you know, they don't really hold the shrink as well as a heavier cloth does. So you know, you're going to find you're going to be pressing these a lot more often. I actually found it with these trousers from whenever we did the video series to when I went to shoot this film that I'd actually almost lost the crease out of the front completely from them. So we had to repress them all over again. But you know, they're nice and comfortable. You know, when you're going with belt loop style, you got to remember you got to cut the trouser a lot closer. So whenever you're taking that measurement, you're really cinching in the waist. Fat can compress by 2 inches. So if you've got a bigger guy and he's planning to wear a belt loop style, you should be really pulling that measurement tape very tight. So you're compressing that fat down, and you're getting down to a measurement that you know that whenever the trousers go on them, the trouser will stay up, but it's still comfortable as well. You could, of course, take the on-skin measurement and then subtract, say, 1.5 inches from that. That could work too. But you got to remember that if you're going for a belt loop style, they have to be able to stay up on their own. Otherwise, you're going to spend your whole time fixing at your trousers. Personally, I always wear braces, so they're suspended from the shoulders, and that way I can actually leave them a little bit looser in the waist. So if you have a bit meal and you feel like you're expanding out, you actually have that room there in the belt loop style. But again, you know, really what we're focusing on this video series is how to cut trousers that are nice and clean in the seat. That's where, you know, the skill of the cutter comes into play. That you know, it's always going to look nice and clean back there, and you know that you know, that you can make out the shape of the butt without actually having it sprayed on the back there. So not necessarily tight fitting garments are always going to look good. Generally, the closer you get to the body, the more skill you need in pattern cutting and actually to get it to fit better. Looser fitting garments are much easier to fit. But that's all I have time for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you subscribe to our 2 video series and see you on the forum soon. Take care.